In order for the judge to understand why the proposition should be rejected, it is utterly important for me not only to restate my point and to clarify my words so that my opponent cannot twist them again by trying to make them fit his own argument, but I must also address by my opponent's attacks on the supposed lack of solvency and mutual exclusivity of my plan versus his in order to highlight more reasons why the proposition should not be chosen as a winner. First off, my opponent's argument should be disregarded based on the fact that he lied by providing a false basis for his rebuttal. I did not agree with his plan like he said in the beginning of his rebuttal, but instead I only expressed that, quote, I am in accordance with its positive results and advantages, end quote, which doesn't mean that I agree with his plan because I do not at all. I just see its intentions and express the fact that they are positive and helpful and should be carried out if it's possible. Now, the proposition argued that I did not provide solvency for my counterplan and that there is no mutual exclusivity between our respective plans and that I did not express what is wrong with his plan. I absolutely express what is wrong with the UN demanding an end to the hunt, but since my opponent claims his affirmation was to simply decry the hunt by the means of releasing a report explaining the harms of the annual dolphin hunt in Taiji, Japan, I will now address why that is wrong because it is his plan that actually lacks solvency and that my plan is the only one with real solvency, which means that there is no need for mutual exclusivity because the proposition cannot perm our plans together simply because his plan is completely ineffective and would not accomplish anything due to the fact that it doesn't have any solvency. So putting them together would mean the proposition is trying to have his policy free ride off of the success of my plan solvency. For proper understanding, it needs to be said that when debating policies, the word solvency refers to the ability of the affirmative plan or negative counterplan to solve the problems and harms of the status quo. The proposition's plan of the United Nations publishing a report in which it decries the hunt in Taiji, Japan, is a plan that will accomplish absolutely nothing since it does not take the brain of a genius to see that the dolphins are being harmed in the annual hunt in Taiji. Merely expressing the dangers of the hunt and of mercury consumption will not cause any hunters to stop or to even slow down their actions. They will simply disregard the report just the way they disregard other soft and ineffective actions of people wishing to stop the hunt. Therefore, there is no need to provide mutual exclusivity because my counterplan is the only one that actually does have any solvency and thus is the only effective one and should be the one to receive a yes vote. To properly clarify, my plan was for the United Nations to grant a non-human person status to the dolphin species in order to then demand that its rights be respected. The solvency of my plan is that this demand by the United Nations would be effective and followed by Japan, which can be seen by the fact that Japan has already agreed to abide by other UN demands. According to a news article from Al Jazeera, even though some small fractions of the Japanese government want the country to act against the International Whaling Commission and that the Japanese actively seek for loopholes in the policy to carry on whaling, its official actions prove that they will listen to the UN and follow their demands. Recently, the UN courts in the Netherlands ruled against Japan who attempted to go whaling on a loosely constructed argument, but the Japanese followed the UN by calling off its 2014 hunt. Similarly, they would also follow other UN demands regarding dolphins. So just to be 100% clear, my opponent should be rejected because he provided false information as his arguments and outright lied about my words in order to try and get ahead. But more importantly, I have entirely invalidated his affirmation and there is zero reason why he should receive a positive vote. The proposition's plan is the one that completely lacks solvency and therefore is ineffective and will accomplish absolutely nothing. The plans do not need to be mutually exclusive because my opponent's plan cannot even solve the harms of the status quo, so therefore it should not be voted for by the judge. Even if the proposition were to lie again and provide more false information, maybe this time saying that he meant a completely different thing, the judge should not even consider their words because the affirmation has been proven faulty in essence and is entirely worthless.